Hi Year 2, I hope you've had a great weekend and welcome to this week of home learning. Now I'm really excited because this week I get to teach you writing and we're going to be using conjunctions to write all about famous explorers. So let's start the lesson. So our learning objective today is to use conjunctions. We're going to look at some different conjunctions throughout the week, but today we're going to focus on and because. Now today we're going to be writing about an explorer. You may remember at the start of the term we sent out a topic grid with loads of different ideas of activities linked to our explorers topic. The history task was to research one of these explorers, so Roald Amundsen, Ernest Shackleton, Marco Polo or Ellen MacArthur. Don't worry if you haven't done this yet, but let's take a look at some of the amazing home learning we've received so far. Well done to Oliver and Miley for their brilliant research on Ellen MacArthur. Lucas and Maisie both made brilliant posters about Marco Polo. Jessica created this excellent project about Roald Amundsen and Molly made this lovely work on Marco Polo. And finally, well done to Ruben, Penny and Macy Lou who all did excellent projects on Marco Polo. Well done to everyone who's sent one in so far. As I said earlier, don't worry if you haven't done one of those projects, but you are going to need to pause the video now and do a little bit of research on one of our explorers. So choose one of them and I would like you to write down a few key facts about them. So who they are, when they were born, where they went on their explorations, how the journey went, and did anything go wrong, maybe. So just some key facts. So pause the video now, jot those down. Are you ready? Have you got some information to work with? Awesome, let's go. In my writing this week, I've chosen to write about the explorer Ernest Shackleton, but it doesn't matter which one you're writing about, we're still going to practice the same skill, and that's using conjunctions. Before we get started with any writing, we need to think, what is a conjunction? You've got a clue there that we know and because are examples of conjunctions. We looked at this before Christmas at school, which was a while ago, so don't worry if you can't remember, but pause the video now and try and have a think. What is a conjunction? Well done. So conjunctions join together two different parts of a sentence. We're going to watch a short video now, courtesy of BBC Bitesize, to look at this further.
We're never going to get up there. We need a conjunction. Conjunctions are joining words. The main thing they do is join two different parts of a sentence.
Oh, you can't just force them together. You have to coordinate them. You need a coordinating conjunction to join groups of words that are about similar things.
Well, here it says, I like cats.
And here it says, he likes dogs.
Perfect. They're both as important and talking about similar things. Let's grab one of these coordinating conjunctions and drop it in. They always go between the words you want to join. You can even join sentences with them.
I like cats, but he likes dogs.
I think you know what to do here.
Hey, steady on drinking all that water.
That's great. The water is calm and I am dry. Oops, maybe not so dry after all.
Here are some conjunctions that we learn about using in Year 2. And, because, but, when, if. We're going to look at all those conjunctions throughout the week, but today we're going to focus on these two, and because. Conjunctions are a great way to extend our sentences, and the good news is we already use them all the time naturally when we speak. Let's look at and first. Here I've got two sentences that I wrote about myself. Miss Lloyd likes pizza. She likes football. Here are two sentences which are perfectly fine by themselves, but we can use and as a conjunction to connect them together. Because after all, when we're speaking, we don't really speak like that. We don't say, she likes pizza, she likes football. We naturally use and to connect them. So instead of the two sentences, I've used my conjunction to say, Miss Lloyd likes pizza and she likes football. Now let's look at because. Because is a really useful conjunction. we can use it to explain how or why something is the case. So, for example, here I've got Miss Lloyd likes pizza, it is delicious. I can put the conjunction because in between those two sentences to make it one long sentence. Miss Lloyd likes pizza because it is delicious. The reason that I like pizza is it's delicious, and that is completely true. Okay, that's enough about pizza. Let's go back to explorers. Remember before I asked you to write some notes about one of the famous explorers. You'll need those in a moment for your own writing, but don't worry about them now. For now, I want you to help me use my notes to write some sentences using conjunctions. As you can see on my notepad, I've got some key facts, and now I'm going to write them as full sentences. So, Ernest Shackleton was born in 1874. He was an Antarctic explorer. I've written two sentences, but I want to connect them together to make one sentence using a conjunction. Let's try reading the sentence now with our different conjunctions and see which one fits best. So we'll try because first. Ernest Shackleton was born in 1874 because he was an Antarctic explorer. Now remember, we use because to explain a reason why something happened. Was he born in 1874 because he was an Antarctic explorer? No, he was born in 1874 because that's when his parents had him as a baby. So we can't use because. Let's try and instead. Ernest Shackleton was born in 1874 and he was an Antarctic explorer. That one works really well because we're adding information. Now let's look at my next set of notes. He was knighted, that means he was given the title Sir and became Sir Ernest Shackleton, and he led 3 expeditions. Let's write that up as full sentences now. Here we go, I've added a bit more information as well from my notes. He was knighted, he led 3 British expeditions to the South Pole. Again, I want to join these sentences to make one big sentence using a conjunction. So let's try both and see what fits best. He was knighted because he led 3 British expeditions to the South Pole. He was knighted and he led 3 British expeditions to the South Pole. Which one do you think works best? Now, they're actually both okay to use. I could use and because I'm just adding extra information, but in this case, I think because fits better. Remember, we use because to give a reason to explain something, and he was knighted because of the fact that he was an explorer who led 3 famous expeditions. Here's the last one we're going to look at together. So again, looking at my notes, I've written less famous and never reached South Pole. The reason I've written less famous is because I read that he's maybe not as well known as other famous explorers, and the reason for that is that despite his expeditions, he never reached the South Pole like he had wanted to. So let's write that up as a full sentence now. Shackleton is perhaps less famous than other explorers. He never actually reached the South Pole. Again, we're going to join these sentences with a conjunction to make one big sentence, and we're going to try both because and to see what fits best. Shackleton is perhaps less famous than other explorers because he never actually reached the South Pole. Shackleton is perhaps less famous than other explorers and he never actually reached the South Pole. Which one would you choose to use? I've chosen to use because. Now, I think because works best because we're giving a reason to explain something. The reason he's not as famous as other explorers is because his expeditions weren't successful. Now we're going to start this week's writing. We're going to continue with this piece of writing throughout the rest of the week, so you need to keep it safe when you're finished. It's a non-fiction piece of writing because we're writing about real people and events. Remember, one of our features of non-fiction writing was that we often use headings. So at the top, I'd like you to write the name of your explorer. Remember, I've chosen Ernest Shackleton, but you might have chosen Marco Polo, Roald Amundsen, or Ellen MacArthur instead. Then I'm going to write a subheading. Who was Shackleton? Again, you need to write about your explorer. Pause the video now and write your heading and your subheading. So remember, your heading will be Ernest Shackleton, Roald Amundsen, Marco Polo, or Ellen MacArthur, your subheading would be who was Shackleton, who was Amundsen, who was Polo, or who is MacArthur. We'll use is for Ellen MacArthur as she's still alive. Brilliant. Now your challenge in today's session is going to be to write this subsection of a longer piece of writing. So I don't want you to worry about going into detail about the expedition or if anything went wrong with the expedition, because we're going to write about those sections on Tuesday and Wednesday. For today, we're just focusing on the background information. So it might be where they're born, where they're from, and some key facts about them. Here are the sentences that I wrote with your help using the conjunctions, and I've written it out as neatly as I can. I might have made a few errors though, so you're going to have to help me green for great or pink for think it in just a moment. Before you start your writing, let's read through my writing together. Remember, our learning objective is to use the conjunctions and because. Ernest Shackleton was born in 1874 and he was an Antarctic explorer. He was knighted. He led 3 British expeditions to the South Pole. Shackleton is perhaps less famous than other explorers because he never actually reached the South Pole. Pause the video now and imagine that you're the teacher. What would you give me a green for great for? Would you give me any pink for thinks? Have I made any mistakes, or is there anything I can improve? Thank you for your help, Year 2. I'm really pleased that I have got some greens because I've achieved our learning objective of using and because. But I've also got some pinks, so let's go through those together. Okay, let's purple pen then. So my first pink is because I forgot my capital letter. Because it's a new sentence, but also a name, so it needs a capital E. And here I've got an arrow telling me to include another word, so let's have a look. He was knighted, he led 3 British expeditions to the South Pole. So there I can include another conjunction like we spoke about earlier. So this one is explaining why he was knighted, so I'm going to put because. And as that's no longer the end of that sentence, I'm going to cross out that full stop and change that capital H into a lowercase h. And finally, the last thing I need to purple pen is I forgot my full stop at the end. There we go. Now it's your turn to have a go at home. So remember, we're only doing the opening paragraph, so we're only focusing on that background information today. We'll worry about further information the rest of the week. Here are your Chili challenges then. Chili 1, I'd like you to tell an adult information about your explorer using and because. For Chili 2, I would like you to write down your opening paragraph about your explorer, like I did, using and because. If you'd like to, you could challenge yourself to include other conjunctions for Chili 3, such as when, but, or if. We have looked at some of these at school already, but don't worry too much about them for now, because we are going to go through them in other lessons later in the week. Awesome job again, Year 2. Remember to keep your beautiful writing nice and safe because you're going to need to add to it for tomorrow's lesson. And remember, you can always send through what you've done today to our Year 2 email address. See you tomorrow. Bye.